Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. That time has come. It's what we've all been waiting hours, days, and weeks for, isn't it? The final of Line of Duty. The final of the District 91 Humorous Speaking Contest. One minute, please. Arno, put the French 75 down. It's not cocktail hour yet. Wait, what? It's an hour later in Paris. That only makes it 3:35. Yeah, I know it tastes good. I know Kat showed you the secret yesterday evening, but it's the humorous speaking contest now, not drinky booze. Helena, have a word with him, will you? Oh no. The Cointreau's coming out. Honestly, you can't take these district leadership team anywhere, can you? My fellow toasties, we've had lunch, but is it time to fall asleep now? No, it's time to bring the energy. It's time for some funny stories, some laughs, some giggles. It's time for some quality entertainment. My name's David, and I'm your contest chair. Here comes some obligatory formal stuff. We have 8 speakers today for your contest pleasure. When I introduce our speakers, I will check that their camera's on, that their microphone is on, and they've pinned the timer to the screen. I'll then announce each speaker by giving their name and their speech title before repeating their speech title and their name. Each speaker will have 5 to 7 minutes to speak. Timing will begin when the speaker's first definite verbal or non-verbal communication with the audience. The speaker should begin speaking within a short time after to not delay the contest unnecessarily. Our timer will display a green signal at 5 minutes, which will remain until a yellow signal at 6 minutes. That will remain until a red signal at 7 minutes, which will remain until the conclusion of the speech. There will be no further indication that the speaker's gone over time. Speakers will be disqualified if their speech lasts for less than 4 minutes 30, or if it goes over 7 minutes 30. I will call for 1 minute of silence after each speaker for judges to complete their voting. All speeches will be evaluated in exactly the same way, against a set of criteria on voting forms by our judging team, who will remain anonymous throughout. After the final speech, I'll call for silence for the Zoom master to remove all judges and ballot counters to a breakout. In this speaker's room, all cameras and microphones are to be off throughout the contest to not interrupt our speakers. I can confirm our speakers today have been briefed. Chief Judge, can you please confirm that our judges and functionaries have been briefed?
Mr. Contest Chair, you mean I shouldn't have been off making a martini? Mr. Contest Chair, I can confirm they have indeed all been briefed.
Thank you very much. Mine's a mojito. The speaking order has been drawn earlier, and it is as follows. Speaker number 1, Dianna Robertson. Speaker number 1, Dianna Robertson. Speaker number 2, Priya Gary. Speaker number 2, Priya Gary. Speaker number 3, Sami Amare. Speaker number 3, Sami Amare. Speaker number 4, Chris Binks. Speaker number 4, Chris Binks. Speaker number 5, Gaussia Sita. Speaker number 5, Gaussia Sita. Speaker number 6, David Sexton. Speaker number 6, David Sexton. Speaker number 7, Rachel Walker. Speaker number 7, Rachel Walker. Speaker number 8, Caroline McIntosh. Speaker number 8, Caroline McIntosh. Now I've checked ahead through their speech titles, and I'm very happy to say none of them have decided to mess with me today by giving me interesting speech titles to read out as I introduce them. Previous favorites such as Speaker 10, Will you marry me? Will you marry me, Speaker 10? Will you go on a date with me? Will you be my Valentine? Speaker 10, I love you, Speaker 10. My fellow toasties, my intro's done. Now it's time to sit back and enjoy the contest. Our first speaker today is Dianna Robertson. Dianna Robertson, please ensure your microphone is on and the timer is pinned on your screen. Let me know when you're ready.
Can you see me and hear me, David?
I can see you. I can hear you. Our first speaker is Dianna Robertson with a speech entitled On the Russian Front. At the Russian front, Dianna Robertson.
Hey, you. Yeah, you, the one looking at the camera, you. Do you like certainty? To be in charge, in control of your life? Well, I have a story for you. Several years ago, I was traveling from a Russian airport when suddenly I could feel something heavy on my shoulder. I looked up and what I saw terrified me. It was twice my height. Imagine a wide-shouldered, muscular, strategically shaped gorilla with a typical Russian face. Follow me. Now, one thing you should know about me is that I always like to be in control. And there is nothing, and I repeat, nothing that drives me more mad than somebody trying to mess up with my holiday plans. Sir, what do we have to? I said, follow me. I looked down at his badge and read, Vladimir. I thought, oh gosh, if this one is anything like the other one, it will take a while. I followed him into a tiny dark room. I'll be back. I didn't know Schwarzenegger was Russian. The moment he left, I hear, passengers for the flight 823, please proceed to gate number 13. Oh, great. The boarding has started and I'm locked in a room awaiting an interrogation by a gorilla. 20 minutes passed until Vladimir graced me with his presence. Where is your husband from? I don't know. I'm not married. Why not? Honestly, at this point, I was expecting an interrogation. But what I did not expect is this guard questioning my life choices. Why is your American visa valid for 3 years? Normal people only get it for 2 years. I don't know. Americans made a mistake? Americans did 2 mistakes. 1, blaming Russia for Trump winning. 2, not letting him back. I started nodding. Finally, an answer he liked. For a moment, I thought maybe we started bonding. Maybe if I tell him more bad things about Americans, he'll let me go. But he crushed my hopes with his next question, the one he wanted to ask me all along. And what is your opinion about terrorism? Honestly, I just want to know, what do they expect people to say? Oh, it's just a hobby. Everybody needs one. No, seriously, what do they expect me to say? Now, me not being a terrorist, yet I'm still waiting for them to get back to me on that application. Me being questioned about terrorism in a closed dark room when my plane is about to depart? That made me lose all my words. It's bad. At this point, I was praying to God, the universe, to Lenin, to whoever was listening, that this guy was not from Toastmasters. Because imagine if he was, he would have given me a full-on grammarian report for not using any advanced words, followed by a counter report for spending half of my speech on one filler sound. Finished off with a timer report for not even making it to 30 seconds. You think it's funny? Just go. And you know, on that day, I was lucky after all. My plane got delayed. They said something about the pilot being held at security. So I made it. Dear comrades, incidents like this normally get me so frustrated that I even make a speech about them to share my frustration with the entire world. But this one was different. This one got me thinking. You see, I was always certain that me being questioned about terrorism is impossible. I was also always certain that a virus threatening the entire humanity is impossible. I was always certain that us, Toastmasters, meeting online is impossible. When the only thing I should have been certain about is uncertainty. Dear comrades, how would you react to a problem that messes up all your plans if you knew that the only certainty is uncertainty? Would you get frustrated, or would you invite it, deal with it, and step out of it as a stronger, more resilient person? What would you do if you knew that the only certainty is uncertainty, while your reaction is entirely under your control? I say we should drink to these wise words. Na zdrowie. Dear contest chair,
One minute of silence, please, while the judges complete their marking. Priya Gary, please ensure that your microphone is on and the timer is pinned on your screen. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
I can see you. I can hear you. Our second speaker is Priya Gary with a speech entitled, "For the Love of Toastmasters, can someone please swipe right on my Tinder profile? For the love of Toastmasters, can someone please swipe right on my Tinder profile, Priya Gary?"
Oh, left. Oh, left. You definitely left. Ooh, nice. Right. Well, hi there. Do you know the difference between finding true love in the UK and finding true love in India? In the UK, you swipe right until you find that special someone. In India, my parents swipe right until they find me that special doctor. Contest chair and all those who got to choose their own lovers. I'm a rebel. Yes, my pre-written destiny would have me sitting around and wait for my parents to introduce me to the man of their dreams. But not me. No way. Nada. Not happening. All I wanted was to find a man for myself. Sure, they choose what school I went to, what clothes I wore, what food I ate. They even chose my sister as their favorite child. But when it comes to finding true love, when it comes to finding my soulmate, I knew I was in charge. I clearly remember the day. I was 15 and I was sitting in my chemistry class trying my best to listen to the teacher who was trying her best to teach us the fundamentals of chemistry. But there was only one set of chemical fundamentals I was interested in, and he was sitting across the room. Raghav Gambhir. What a man. He was 16. But he had already started growing a mustache, and all the boys were so jealous of him. Even my teacher, even her mustache wasn't as good as his. I stared at him, hoping for some kind of reaction, and there it was. He looked up from his books, locked his eyes with me, and stroked his magnificent mustache. This is it. This is the exact moment I've been waiting for my whole life. 3 weeks. And I did what any teenager would do when she locks the eyes with the man of her dreams, the captain of a ship, the savior of the soul. I looked the other way. Sure, my soul can be saved another day. I'd rather have my ship sink without a trace than actually smile back. And you know what happened next? Yes, he never looked at me again. And I remained single. For the next 10 years, me and my parents were on a hunt to find another mustachioed man. And guess what? We even found him. My one true love, my one and only. 38 different times. Eventually, even my parents gave up, deleted all the matchmaking apps, and brought me home a cat. And I remained single. Until one fine day, when I walked into the parallel universe, which completely changed my life. Ladies and gentlemen, for you, it's Toastmasters. For me, well, it's raining men. Hallelujah, it's raining men. Yeah, yeah. And there was this one particular man who fell from the sky sitting across the Toastmasters meeting room. Aditya. Oh, Aditya. I stared at him all the way through the timekeeper's description, the sergeant at arms introduction, and the president's welcome. There was only one man who I had the time for, only one man who would be a sergeant in my arms, and only one man I'd welcome as my president. And it happened. He looked up from his CC manual and locked his eyes with me. This is it. This is the exact moment I've been waiting for my whole life. 30 minutes. And I did what any Toastmaster would do in that exact situation. I confess my feelings in a 5 to 7 minute prepared speech. And you know what happened next? Yes, as of today, we are happily married with 4 beautiful children, all with healthy mustaches, and he's even a qualified doctor. Right, 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 wrong. He rejected me in a 2 to 3 minute evaluation. Fellow Toastmasters, this is not a place to find true love. The website did say, well, leaders are made, not lovers are made. And I remained single. Coming back to the question, what is the difference between finding true love in India and finding true love in the UK? I have no idea. You tell me. If you know the answer, send me a message. Frankly, I don't think there's any. But there's one thing which I learned in my quest to true love. It doesn't matter whether you're in the UK, India, or any part of the world. Maybe, just maybe, after all the swiping is done, maybe what's left will be exactly right. Hold on. Ooh, I got a match. Do you know anyone named Arno Satra, Mr. Contest Chair?
One minute of silence, please, while the judges complete their marking. Sami Amare, please ensure your microphone is on and the timer is pinned on your screen. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
I can see you. I can hear you. Our third speaker is Sami Amare with a speech entitled, I Love to Travel. I love to travel, Sami Amare.
Yes, I love to travel, on airplanes in particular. I don't get nervous. When the brown man says he likes flying, people tend to get nervous. The same is true with driving these days. People get worried. Unless, of course, I tell them I'm a Deliveroo driver. But it's true, I love to travel. Although as a brown man, the experience is not often as enjoyable as it could be for others. Some of you may have seen that movie Up in the Air with George Clooney. He plays this management consultant that flies around the US. And as he gets to airport security, he points out the various cues to his young new apprentice. Never follow families with infants, he says. Just collapsing a stroller takes about 20 minutes. Same is true with old people. I mean, their bodies are littered with hidden metal, and it takes them ages to walk through a scanner. And then he points to a group of men, brown men, like me. 5 words, he says, randomly selected for further screening. Avoid that queue at all costs. Hand on heart, it's better not to queue behind me at airport security because, yeah, you could be there for a while. I remember once going to the US. It was clear the immigration officer wanted to send me to that further screening room, but struggled to come up with a good reason. In the end, he kind of just went with, "Sir, have you by any chance purchased any duty-free items on your way to the United States?" "Yes, some whiskey." "Ah, I'm afraid we're going to have to ask you some more questions. If you could go to that room over there." Then again, it doesn't help that my foreign accent often gets me into trouble. I mean, they ask me a simple question, "Sir, what is your profession?" Now, what I want to say is that I'm a lawyer, but with my accent, that sometimes sounds like, "I'm a liar." Lawyer, liar, perhaps not that much different, some would argue, but the distinction is crucial at airport security, let me tell you that. Then they usually ask me where I'm from. "I'm coming from the UK, I tell them. You can tell immediately that's not what they want to know. What they really want to know is which brown country am I from? So then they ask me another question, "And where were you born?" "Well, Sweden, I tell them. Yeah, I don't look terribly Swedish, do I? So they look at my passport and they try another approach. "And your surname? Amare? Is that like French or Italian? Like Amor or Amore?" "Oh no, it's Somali," I tell them. "Somali? Ah, you're Somali." "Yes," I say. I'm half Somali, half Swedish." And sometimes trying to break the ice, ease the tension, I sometimes add, or as I like to say, half pirate, half Viking. But that works sometimes, but not always. I did a DNA test not so long ago, and it actually revealed I'm quite a blend. I'm also a bit Jewish, Arab, and Asian. I'd cater for most prejudices and racist inclinations. Do you know how in Harry Potter they have these exotic animals as pets? If that was me, my pet would be a panda. It's black, it's white, it's Asian. Anyway, I digress. I do love to travel. But because of these hilarious airport experiences, I always suit up these days. And guess what? I don't get in trouble or caught, stopped, I mean so much anymore, at least not in the UK. Because I realized if there's one prejudice that the Brits excel at above all others, it's class prejudice. So dress a bit nicely, try to talk a bit posh, a bit of received pronunciation. Well, I can't do it, but I try. And you get treated far better in this country. It really is quite something. It works for me, well, sometimes. And I've discovered that this suit up, dress up factor is even more important if you make it past security and into the nicer shops in particular. And my first experience of this came after university. I've just got my first real job. So off I went to buy a new suit, wearing a t-shirt, jeans and trainers. The shop assistant looked me over from head to toe, and within the blink of an instant, he made his decision, carried on past me. Not worth my effort seemed to be the overall sentiment. But 2 or 3 months later, I returned, and this time I was suited up, coming straight from work, and already carrying a shopping bag for one of their competitors. Barely had I managed to put my foot inside the door before the same shopping assistant approached me yet again, although this time with an opening barrage of flattery. Oh, good afternoon, sir. Very nice to have you with us today. My name is Henry. Please do let me know if I could be of any assistance. Something like that. And all this because I dress differently. And that was an eye-opener for me. And since then, I always dress up when the situation warrants it. Although these days, I'm no longer a single man. I'm married with children. I tell you this because now I travel with a family and with a toddler in particular. And let me tell you something, a toddler does not have the same idea what is fun or relaxing. But even though being a parent can be challenging and traveling with a toddler can be exhausting, I've come to find that there's no greater joy than being with my family. Seeing my daughter develop, sitting, crawling, smiling, those are all milestones I will cherish forever. Thank goodness my wife filmed it while I slept. My wife won't really enjoy some of these family-related jokes, but then again, she usually has the last laugh in our family. Like everyone, I have my own insecurities and self-doubt. And in our family, I often feel like the chauffeur in Downton Abbey. You know, the one who married Lady Sybil? That's me. So my wife gives me these little compliments to boost my fragile little ego. Like, oh, those boxes you carried, they look really heavy. Or the exercise you started doing is finally starting to show off. But then when I'm lulled into this false sense of security, she goes away and she buys a travel thermos. On the one side, and she shows me this as we walk through airport security, of all times. On the one side, it says, I love my men like my coffee. I love my men like my coffee. Hot, dark, strong, and rich. Well, I smile and I nod approvingly. But then she turns it around. And on the other side, she says, but hey, 2 out of 4 isn't bad either. Mr. Contest Chair.
One minute of silence, please, while the judges complete their marking. Chris Binks, please ensure your microphone is on and the timer is pinned on your screen. Let me know when you're ready.
Yes, the microphone is on and I have pinned the timekeeper.
I can see you. I can hear you. Our fourth speaker is Chris Binks with a speech entitled, I have been to the mountaintop. I have been to the mountaintop, Chris Binks.
I have been to the mountaintop and I have seen the promised land. Have you ever cycled in a saddle like this and lived to tell the tale? Well, I have. and I'm going to tell you the story of how, turning 40 and experiencing my midlife crisis, I learned to deal with the fear of getting older. Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, and anyone crazy enough to put your crotch in a saddle like this. My story began when my spinning buddy Barry turned to me one day and said, "Oi, Big Ed, do you fancy cycling with me for charity from London to Brighton?" London to Brighton? Why, that's 53 miles in a bike saddle. Are you mad? That doesn't sound very charitable to me. However, I loved the challenge, so I decided to join him. First thing, I needed gear, the flashy, expensive kind of gear. Helmet, check. Cool shades, check. Padded crotch pants, check. Copy of the latest cycling magazine, check. Emergency poop bag, check. Oops, don't forget the bike. Having now trashed my credit card, I had officially become a fully fledged mammal. And I don't mean the warm, fluffy animal kind. I mean a middle-aged man in Lycra. As a mammal, I loved the feeling of standing on the bike and swishing my tush from side to side like the professionals. Having done several charity bike rides, my midlife crisis ego mind had been thinking I needed a bigger challenge. And so in that moment, I decided I was going to cycle the Tour de France. On the morning of the race, we gathered at the start. I was feeling a little nervous, but at least I looked cool in my top of the range Lycra. I think the ladies thought so too. Under starter's orders, bah! Went the klaxon, and I sped off like a madman in a padded cell. For the first 3 minutes, I was in control. I had set a blistering pace. However, after 5 minutes of ego-boosting pedaling, pelotons of semi-pro riders began whizzing past me. "Get out of the way, you idiot!" a rider shouted. Rider after rider was sending me their dust and their flatulence. Oh. As I approached the foot of the first mountain, I looked up. It's so big. How on earth am I going to climb this? And so with some trepidation and the backside longing for a nice soft cushion, I began my ascent. As I journeyed on, parts of the mountain have really steep inclines of up to 11%. And for those of you that don't know what 11% looks like on a bike, it looks like this. At around 3/4 of the way up, I glanced behind me and noticed a bus slowly making its way up the mountain. That's odd. I thought all the roads were closed. All of a sudden, I realized it was the dreaded sweep-up bus. No! The sweep-up bus gathered up all the slowest riders so that they could reopen the roads. I panicked and tried pedaling faster, but the bus was getting closer and closer. As I struggled on, a French race official nonchalantly walked off the bus alongside me. "Monsieur, do you think you could cycle any slower? It is time to get on the bus." I glanced at him and said, "I am going to conquer this mountain, even if I have to leave it in an ambulance." And so the race official drove to the summit to wait for me. Those final moments towards the summit were the most grueling of my life. But incredibly, yes, I had made it. The only thing was, my backside was on fire. As I lay slumped on the floor, the French race official came and stood over me. "Monsieur, it is time to get on the bus." And so as he directed me towards the bus, a flash of inspiration hit me. I said to myself, if I've gone through all this butt-busting pain to get up this bloody mountain, I'm jolly well going to have fun going down. And in that moment, I made a break for mammaldom. Cycling downhill was absolutely the best part of cycling. I loved the thrill it gave me. I then proceeded to go on the most incredible and exhilarating mountain descent I could ever imagine. For a full 25 minutes at speeds of up to 40 kilometers an hour, I was in traffic-free alpine heaven, the wind rushing through my helmet, the breeze brushing past my face. This was the best feeling of being in last place ever. As I approached the foot of the mountain, I realized I had overcome one of the biggest physical and mental challenges of my life, and I had lived to tell the tale. I had actually been to the mountaintop and reached the promised land. So as I reflect on my journey that day, I realized that my journey often mirrors the journeys we all face in life. You see, when we decide to pursue our goals and our dreams, they will inevitably throw us into the path of struggle, pain, and most possibly a very hot backside. And our Toastmasters journey is no different. So if you're a crazy Toastmaster like me, with dreams inside you want to set free, don your lycra, put on your hat, chart your course, and don't you dare look back. Contest chair.
One minute of silence, please, while the judges complete their marking. Gaussia Sita, please ensure your microphone is on and the timer is pinned on your screen. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
I can see you. I can hear you. Our fifth speaker is Gaussia Sita with a speech entitled Persistence Over Passion. Persistence Over Passion, Gaussia Sita.
25 years. That's how long I've been together with my partner, Maciek. And I know half of you is thinking, wow, 25 years. How did they manage that? And the other half is like, why? And I get that. A long-term relationship is hard work. And it's not like working in a Silicon Valley startup where you follow your passion, make a difference, change the world. No, it's like working in a call center. You always follow the same script. The other person doesn't even want to talk to you. And the time spent hiding in the toilet is the best part of your day. So why do I stay in my relationship? First of all, hello, global pandemic, not the best time to go out and meet someone new. And even if I did, what would we do together? Lateral flow tests? Secondly, dating has become so competitive. At least that's what millennials tell me. Poor things. You can't get a date. And that brings me to my thirdly reason. When you get to my age, do you really want to put this whole situation back on the market? Some say the secret to a lasting relationship is good sex. Trust me, it is not. It's hard work. And with over 2 decades of experience, I know exactly what to do to make a relationship last. So today I'm going to give you 3 tips on how to do just that. And I'm Polish, so I'm going to give it to you straight. Tip number 1, lower your expectations. We expect our other halves to be everything to us. Friends and lovers, cooks and cleaners, fathers of our children. And then we want them to do it all willingly, happily, and free of charge. Now, let's get real. Your partner, he's not Amazon. He can't deliver everything. Some of these functions need to be outsourced. Which ones? That's entirely up to you. All I can say is that Maciek is a wonderful father, my best friend, and he doesn't charge. Tip number 2, don't get married. I still remember the day I met Maciek. It was the last day of my horse riding camp and the first day of the new one. So my friend Viola and we went to check out the new arrivals who were having their first lesson in the paddock. And that's where I saw him. The vision in ripped jeans, riding the horse like he was born in the saddle. Shoulder-length hair, bare chest, six-pack abs glistening in the sunlight. Maciek was right behind him. He wore this Bob the Builder hat and prescription glasses and had this interesting riding style. At a trot, Maciek would slowly slide off the horse, hit the ground, pick himself up, and then get straight back on again. And again, and again. My eyes were still glued to the vision in ripped jeans. But every now and then I would glance at this geeky guy in a hard hat, impressed by his determination. And suddenly, a thought popped into my head. If he's half as determined in bed as he is on that horse, I'd even let him keep that helmet on. And then one thing led to another, and here we are, 25 years on, happily unmarried. Marriage, my friends, is highly overrated. Now, I know you want security, but if you want security, get a mortgage. It's been keeping us together for 25 years. Which reminds me, we just paid it off. So if you know a nice British gentleman who needs a European passport, message me in the chat box. Tip number 3, make an effort. A long-term relationship takes hard work, consistency, and persistence. So if you've started to drift apart, make time for each other. If the spark has gone, do something exciting together. No idea what? Go on Groupon and take your pick. The burlesque night, the trapeze session, the Russian sauna. We've done them all. Next on our list is small rodent taxidermy. And don't judge us. We've been together for a quarter of a century. We're running out of ideas. What I want to leave you with today is this. In a long-term relationship, just as in life, nothing that's worth having comes easy. So if you want your relationship to last, remember to follow these 3 simple rules. Lower your expectations. Don't get married, and make an effort. Or as we Polish people say, roll up your sleeves, put your helmet on, and get down to work, Mr. Contest Chair.
One minute of silence, please, while the judges complete their marking. David Sexton, please ensure your microphone is on and the timer is pinned on your screen. Let me know when you're ready.
The timer is pinned and I can hear you.
I can see you. I can hear you. Our sixth speaker is David Sexton with a speech entitled Naked Ambition. Naked Ambition, David Sexton.
It was my first Fringe festival. And I'd seen so many amazing things. I'd seen poetry, I'd seen puppetry, I'd seen things there weren't even words for, like Russian hand dancing, which was surprisingly good if you're into that kind of thing. And now I was in a deep, dark, dank basement at a show called Spank, a real Fringe institution, a sort of drunken mix of comedy and cabaret. And there was a moment in the show which really grabbed my attention, where they asked for a volunteer from the audience to get up and present on anything. I had an epiphany. This is what I wanted to do for my stag do. I'd have a day full of amazing shows and end with my own show at Spank. Of course, I'd be the first to admit there were a few problems with my plan. One, you don't typically organise your own stag do. Two, I wasn't a terribly confident public speaker. And three, traditionally, if you're going to get married, you really need a fiancé. And I didn't even have a girlfriend. Toastmasters, have you ever had an ambition? Did you fulfill it? Ambitions are powerful things. They get us to push past our comfort zones and achieve. But an ambition without action is pointless. So how can we act on our ambitions? What I like to do is break it down into a series of more manageable tasks. In this case, step one, find a fiancé. So I did what anyone would do in that situation. I Googled it. How to find a wife quickly. And Google had the answer. Mail order brides. No, actually, that was a bit skeevy. Plus, I was a student and couldn't afford it anyway. So I went with Google's second answer, online dating. Of course, it wasn't that easy. I went on a lot of dates with a lot of lovely ladies and a lot of dates with some more interesting ladies. But with work and practice, I got better at online dating. And fast forward 5 years, I met my current wife. Ask her today, and she still has no idea how she fell for a guy like me. But I know. I seduced her using the skills I developed over my years of online dating. For example, I still remember a particularly critical day where I took her foraging for wild food and made a romantic meal, which really sealed the deal. I even did a speech on it. Step one, check, fiancé acquired. But I still wasn't a terribly confident public speaker. So I did what anyone would do in that situation. I Googled it. How to become a better public speaker quickly. And Google had the answer. Hypnotherapy. No, not hypnotherapy. That was a bit weird for me. I went with Google's second answer, Toastmasters. Of course, it wasn't that easy. But with work and practice, I got better at public speaking. And fast forward 5 years, I felt ready. Step two, check. I still needed to organise my own stag do. So I did what anyone would do in that situation. I didn't Google it. I picked Tristan, my most agreeable and malleable friend, to be my best man because I knew he would follow my instructions to the letter. That part was pretty easy, actually. Step three, check. Fast forward 5 months and we're back in Edinburgh and it's going pretty much exactly as I imagined it would. We're seeing amazing shows. We're seeing interpretive dance, immersive theatre, bubble burlesque. It's not entirely how I imagined it would go. For example, I didn't imagine I would be cross-dressing for the first time in my life. That was Tristan's edition. But it's not all bad news. It was really hot and the dress was nice and breezy, so that was good. But the lack of pockets wasn't very convenient. So there's work to be done on that area, ladies. I'm back in Spank, sitting in my chair, in my dress, itching to get up there on stage. But then, disaster. A hand shoots up at the back of the room. Can I do it? Can I do it? An American's trying to volunteer. I'll do a good job. It's before the point in the show where they're even asking for them. You won't be disappointed. I've been working for this for 10 years. I cannot let this lady steal my thunder. My own hand shoots up. I'm glaring daggers at her. Fortunately for me, she hadn't been taking it easy on the alcohol, and she was way too drunk. She'd been heckling the performers throughout the show up to this point, so they picked me and not her. I was up there in a flash. But first things first. Oh, I forgot to mention that, didn't I? The speech had to be delivered naked. I mean, it wouldn't have been much of a challenge otherwise. So there I was, in front of a sea of faces, stark naked. And I froze. But only for a moment before my Toastmaster training took over and I launched into that speech about how I seduced my wife. I had their undivided attention. I could tell because their eyes were up here, not down here, as I told them about foraging for the finest wild ingredients, woodlice, to make the most indescribably romantic meal, potted woodlice. Fortunately, I don't need to describe it because I have a picture. It was indescribable, indescribably bad. But I think you'll agree, any lady who would stay with me after making them something like that was definitely a keeper. I certainly thought so. Before I knew it, the speech was over and I was buzzing. I'd achieved everything I set out to do by breaking it down into manageable tasks, and I had exceeded my wildest expectations. It even ended in a standing ovation, a fitting end to my naked ambition. Contest chair.
One minute of silence, please, while the judges complete their marking. Rachel Walker, please ensure your microphone is on and the timer is pinned on your screen. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
I can see you. I can hear you. Our seventh speaker is Rachel Walker with a speech entitled Working from Home with Your Partner, a Toastmasters Guide. Working from Home with Your Partner, a Toastmasters Guide. Rachel Walker.
9,500 hours is roughly the number of hours I've spent with my other half since the 18th of March, 2020. So many hours. And I'm sure lots of you find yourself in the same position. Suddenly we are living and working in such close proximity to our other halves, to our family members, to our flatmates. My friend said to me, Rach, you're a relationship life coach. Surely you have the answer that we need to get through this really difficult time. I said, yeah, actually, I do. Sign up to Toastmasters, enter a contest, shut him in the bedroom while you deliver your speech, and voila, 5.5 to 7.5 minutes of your precious time regained. And if you're humorous enough, make it to the finals to really milk those extra minutes. I thought I would just elongate that pause because I'm really trying to get as many minutes as I can. So today, what I want to do is talk you through a typical day in our life of living and working together at home, and how I've used the techniques that I learned here at Toastmasters in leadership and public speaking to help the survival of our relationship. And of course, every day starts in the morning. And this particular morning, I awake and I'm fresh from a dream. And it's a dream that I had when I was a teenager. I'm with my mum at home and I'm furiously rooting through the washing basket. I say, Mum, have you seen my pink jumper? I want to wear it. Have you washed it for me? Mum comes storming through the door. What do you mean if I washed it? This is a house, not a hotel. If you want something washing, wash it yourself. I decide in that moment that I will never be a 50-year-old woman so unnecessarily stressed out about having to do just a little bit of washing. So I'm in the bedroom that morning with my partner. I awake from this dream, and there he is standing before me, rooting through the cupboards, looking for something. Rach, have you seen my green t-shirt? Have you washed it? I want to wear it. In that moment, I realise I am not a 50-year-old woman unnecessarily stressed about a little bit of washing. I'm a 28-year-old woman unnecessarily stressed about a little bit of washing, because now my home is my office and my office is my home, and there's washing everywhere. I feel this feeling bubbling within me. It rises to the back of my throat, and I wonder what is possibly going to come out of my mouth. My palms start to sweat and my heart starts to race, and I think, I know this feeling. It's the feeling I get when I stand to do a speech before my audience in Toastmasters. I pause, I take a breath, and I think, what would a Toastmaster do right now? And I remember that all of that anxiety is worry of what's happened before me and anticipation of what might come. But in this present moment, everything is okay. So I step before him, my audience of one, and I say, Mr. President, Mr. Toastmaster, most welcome guest. I don't know where your green t-shirt is. I haven't washed it, but I'll help you look for it in a minute. We transition into lunchtime into our main living space, where we both use our dining room table to eat, but also to work. Now I know he's had his lunch because upon the table is a placemat, crumbly bits of Parmesan cheese tickling the edges, and a lone piece of green penne pesto pasta sitting where I want to put my mouse. I pause, I take a breath, I think, okay, Rach, what would a Toastmaster do right now? I turn to him and I say, I really commend you for making me lunch. Thank you for thinking about the fact that I'll be hungry. I appreciate that. One recommendation I would have would just be to wipe the table surface down once you've finished your lunch, so I don't end up with crumbly Parmesan on the bottom of my laptop. But I also want to commend you for the fact that you put your pots in the dishwasher after you were done. Thank you for that. I know it's not my strong point. I appreciate it. Giving and receiving positive feedback and constructive feedback. Great for your public speaking and leadership development here at Toastmasters. Also great for your relationship. The day fades away and we enter into the evening. Now, we know that the evening has arrived because where our browsers on our laptops once housed Gmail and Teams and Zoom, we close them down, and before us, we open up Netflix. We sit side by side on the sofa, headphones on, watching our own shows. He turns to me and says, Rach, do you think we spend enough time together? 9,500 hours flash in my mind like a neon sign. I say, what do you mean? Well, we spend time together, but do we spend like quality time together? I pause, I take a deep breath. I think, well, what would a Toastmaster do right now? I say, well, I guess when you're delivering any kind of speech, conversation with someone, you want to make sure that you're giving them good eye contact, that you're having a purposeful and present interaction with them, that you've got some meaningful body language, and really just be present with them. He nods. Okay, well, why don't we try turning our phones to silent and closing down all of our background windows so it doesn't interfere with the connection? If you find yourself getting frustrated of having to share your working and living space with your loved ones, I want you to remember these three things. Be present, give and receive constructive feedback, and make your time together meaningful. Think about what a Toastmaster would do. And if all else fails, you can always stick them on mute, hit them with a gavel, and disqualify them from your life. Mr. Contest Chair.
1 minute of silence, please, while the judges complete their marking. Caroline McIntosh, please ensure your microphone is on and the timer is pinned on your screen. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm just looking for the timer. I'm ready.
I can see you. I can hear you. Our 8th speaker is Caroline McIntosh with a speech entitled, "Protect Your Data, It's Worth a Mint." Protect your data, it's worth a mint. Caroline McIntosh.
What do you think it is? I mean, it's stuck right in there between the M and the comma. Do you think we can hook it out? What if you hold down the space bar and I'll try? Ooh, I've got it. My friend Bob held up the pellet of white stuff, sniffed it, and then put it in her mouth. Peppermint. Fellow Toastmasters, contest chair, and very welcome guests. Do not eat things you find in your computer keyboard. Your computer keyboard could have more germs on it than the average toilet seat. My friend Bob, despite her questionable keyboard hygiene, knows loads about computing. Bob is responsible for computer security at the company where we work. Bob is the person that makes us choose a long password of at least 9 characters with lowercase letters and uppercase letters and numbers and symbols. And she makes us change it every 90 days. It's really frustrating. How do you do it, I asked. How do you get people to take that stuff seriously? Well, I find I just need to give people the facts and an easy way to remember why it's important. I also find the right underwear helps. Well, luckily, while I was trying to figure out what to say, Bob carried on explaining. You see, people don't think about all that information on their computers, names and addresses, banking details, photos, emails. It's really valuable. You might say, in the wrong hands, that data would be worth a mint. And when people choose an easy to remember password, they don't think that a hacker might guess that within seconds. The most common password is password 123. When I make them choose a long password of at least 9 characters with lowercase letters and uppercase letters and numbers and symbols, it might take a hacker 12 years to guess that. And I've already made them change it within 90 days. People do all sorts of silly things with their passwords, like write them down with on a sticky note and put them on their computer screens, or tell them to their friends. I expect you're wondering about the underwear. Well, you know I was, but I didn't like to say anything. Pants! That's how I get people to remember. We learnt it at school, to treat your passwords like your pants. Change them regularly, don't leave them lying around on your desk, and don't lend them to other people. Well, that's all very well, Bob. Password security is one thing. What about those scams you hear so much about these days where people try and steal your bank account details? Those emails used to be really easy to spot with their weird sentences and their dodgy spelling. And now they're getting really sophisticated. Pants! You just need to translate it into the language of pants. So here's what Bob explained to me about the language of pants. You see, those sorts of email scams are called phishing scams. Phishing is spelled with a PH because it derives from a type of hacking that started in the 1960s called phreaking. Phreaking, also spelled with a PH, was where the hackers would play a weird noise down the phone line to freak out the computer system at the other end and not have to pay for their calls. Phishing is a really good name for these scams because the scammers use bait to try and hook their victims. And they're really good at it. The classic one is that one where you get an email, supposedly from your bank, saying your account's been hacked. But it's okay. All you need to do is follow the link in the email that the scammers sent you, and the bank will move your money somewhere safe. Banks don't do that. Banks run advertising campaigns telling us they won't do that. And still, clever, sensible people fall for it because the scammers are so good at this game. We can beat them though, by translating into the language of pants. Imagine it like this. Rather than an email, you get a knock on your door. And when you open the door, there's a stranger stood there. Your pants aren't safe. Quick, you need to go upstairs. Go upstairs now, get your pants out of the drawer you keep them in. Bring them downstairs and give them to me. I'll put them in this drawer and I'll keep them safe. It's so ridiculous, isn't it? Would you give your pants to a stranger if they knocked on the door and asked for them? People just wouldn't fall for it. Fellow Toastmasters, we're all spending more time online at the moment. We might not be that confident in how to keep ourselves safe online. We might not be experts in computer security, like my friend Bob. I think we all understand the language of pants, though. Think about your own passwords. Your passwords for EasySpeak or the Toastmasters International website. Have you had those passwords for more than 12 years? Are they long and complicated? Do they keep you warm and comfortable? Or are they thin and flimsy, leaving little to the imagination? There are 3 messages I would like to leave you with today. The first is to be like my friend Bob and treat your passwords like your pants. Change them regularly, don't leave them lying around on your desk, and don't lend them to other people. The second is to keep an eye out for those fishy emails. Translate them into the language of pants, and if they sound ridiculous, steer well clear. And the third message, fellow Toastmasters, is remember not to eat things you find in your computer keyboard. Contest chair.
I call for silence as our Zoom master moves the judges and the ballot counters to a breakout. Zoom master, please confirm when we can continue. Humorous speaking contest participants, congratulations. Can I invite you now to switch on your cams so we can have a few words with each other? Now, will we have some fun with our Zoom master today and ask the contestants to speak in a random order? Okay, let's be kind to our Zoom master. We'll go in the speaking order. Dianna, where are you? Can I see you? Hello.
I'm
Hello.
here. Can you see me?
Hello, I can see you. I can hear you.
Hey.
How was it going first in the contest today?
You know, wearing all that and us going a little bit behind with time. Honestly, I was just so warm. I couldn't wait to start.
I can see that this time last year you were the conference director. So you know all the ins and outs of running one of these contests.
Well, my team knows more details, actually. But yeah, good times, good times. It's very, very difficult to organize conferences like this. And it's incredible what the team has been doing on this contest and generally this conference. It's very, very impressive. It's been very, very professional. So I'm very proud of this year's team, actually.
Yeah, huge thanks to all the backstage team for this year. Now, you told me that you've got a cat called Fluffer. Is that the right name? Tell me, do you practice your speeches in front of Fluffer?
Well, first of all, Fluffer is an amazing cat. I love it so much because it's so fluffy. And
the thing is, you know how cats have a mind of their own? So it's very difficult to make the cat actually sit and listen to the speech. However, when I have maybe a day that's not going so well, there is nothing better, and I tell you nothing better than just finding this animal somewhere under the bed, just hugging it tight and just enjoying this fluffy moment.
Thank you, Dianna.
Thank you.
Let's move on to our second speaker, Priya. How are you doing? You took part in 2 contests this weekend. How was that for you? You're on mute, Priya.
Can you hear?
I can hear you.
David, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Great. Murphy likes to play with me. So it is definitely exhausting. The same thing happened yesterday, right before I was going to speak, and I was already dying because of nervousness. Yes, so it is not really easy to compete in 2 contests. You have sleepless nights.
What's the furthest you've been in the contests so far?
The best part is I think it's really nice to connect with a lot of people. We have contestants across the divisions, and you actually end up making great friends. And this is a great chance for you to experience something with others are also experiencing. I'm sure each one of us worked so hard. I'm sure each one of us were very, very nervous before our table topic contest, and something I think that really helped us bond together. So it's nice to see someone who's facing the same situation as you.
You shared with me earlier that this is the first time, I think, that you have gone past club level contest. Is that right?
Yes.
And you've made it to the district final for 2 contests. Huge congratulations.
Thank you very much. Humorous, it never came to me, or I never went to it. I think this time we just matched probably. And table topic, I just tried once at division. It wasn't great. And for the first time I went to district, I'm very happy about it. But Humorous, yeah, it was a very, very surprising experience for me. So far, it has been great.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you, David.
Let's bring up our 3rd speaker today, Sami. Hey, Sami. I see you're a salsa dancer. How does salsa dancing compare to Toastmasters?
Well, it's the same kind of, you have to get over your nerves. I think for many people, they join Toastmasters because speaking in front of people feels terrifying, or at least they want to improve. For me, starting to dance was because I was terrified of dancing, and it was difficult to go up and ask women, do you want to dance with me? That fear of rejection. So those 2 things are similar. There was a fear, and it was something I basically had to overcome.
What do you prefer the most? No, you don't have to answer that.
I think dancing, because dancing is they complement each other well, because talking or speaking, you speak all the time, whereas dancing is no verbal communication whatsoever. It's just music and trying to interpret the music together. And that's what I like about the 2, because they go well together.
Great. You shared with me that you really enjoyed participating in your club's Social Mobility Foundation. Could you tell us more about that?
Oh, the Social Mobility Foundation is something separate. I think it's quite a large charity that tries to help people essentially with social mobility. And our club, City Limits, they took part in essentially helping young individuals with public speaking as part of that kind of ethos, so that kind of developing young people, giving them skills. And I found that really rewarding, because I was able to take what little I've learned from Toastmasters and help others, and that was really rewarding.
A great cause. Thanks, Sami. Our 4th speaker, Chris, you've
Hi,
returned
David.
from being a floating head.
Yeah, having a bit of trouble with the background and blending in with my bib.
You shared with me that by day, you're a building safety specialist and by night, a wedding host and DJ. And so Toastmasters is what, your side hustle?
Exactly. Absolutely is. Yeah, I've got a passion for music, DJing, and hosting weddings.
And I guess those Toastmaster skills come in handy with your nighttime gig.
Well, I guess it was as I became more a master of ceremonies, I needed to brush up on my skills. So a good friend of mine, Tony Wynyard, he's another wedding DJ. He recommended Berkeley Square speakers to me. So that was kind of where I went to kind of improve my skills as a master of ceremonies. And now I get to speak on a stage with wonderful people, a wonderful organization, and just, you know, learning how to communicate. And it's just great fun. Highly unexpected to be here, but I'm enjoying it.
And you were the DJ for the official 2012 Olympic after party for volunteers and athletes. What's that like compared to taking the stage in contest?
Well, it was, I mean, I got the opportunity. I was working for Newham Council at the time, and the opportunity came to give all the volunteers and the staff in the Olympic Park a party afterwards. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty nerve-wracking, but yeah, that's kind of one of the highlights of my career. So that was good fun. 2012 was amazing.
Great, thanks, Chris. Our fifth speaker, Gaussia. First of all, can we wish you a happy birthday today?
Thank you. That's so nice. Yeah. Happy birthday to me.
And tell us, how was it taking part in this speech contest on your birthday?
It was great, 2 in 1. Who can say no to a good bargain? Certainly not me. I like your question. I was afraid you were actually going to ask me how old I was today. So.
I wouldn't dare. So you shared with us that you had in the past struggled to get some members to socialize after meetings, which were held on a Monday. What did you do to help with that?
Yes, I was once president of London Public Speakers, a fabulous club, and fabulous members. But, you know, there is this thing about Monday evenings. It's just the beginning of the week. Nobody's in the mood to socialize. And even though our meetings were actually held in a pub, there were not many people who were willing to stay after the meeting and have a pint together. So at some point I got so desperate that I prepared a speech specifically to get people into the pub after the meeting, and I sang. So, and I'm not good at singing, but I was desperate. So I did it and it worked.
And did you have to pull funny faces as well?
I do it all the time. That's my thing. Are you referring to my favorite quote?
You shared one of your favorite quotes. Yeah, when in doubt, make funny faces.
Yeah, it has always worked for me. And I think that's what brought me here today. So.
And one of your interests is stand-up comedy. Have you had a go yourself?
I did, actually. I went and did a stand-up comedy course, and that was at the beginning of lockdown. So our course got suspended, but then when things opened up, we went back. And actually, I was fortunate enough to do my showcase in the 2 or 3 months that we were allowed out. And I did it in the Crystal Palace. So it was amazing. At least it was for me. I'm not sure about the audience, but I had fun.
And so have your Toastmaster skills helped with that, or has it been the other way around?
They certainly did, because what I've noticed about other participants, they had really good jokes. Most of them were better than mine, to be honest. But the delivery, some people struggled with it in terms of stage presence, in terms of timing, in terms of pausing. So I think this, being a Toastmaster, helped me in this respect tremendously.
Well, thank you, Gaussia, and happy birthday again.
Thank you.
Our next speaker was David Sexton. David, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks, David.
You shared with us that you like to learn new things. What are some of the new things you've learned this weekend?
This weekend, there was a diversity lecture I was on this morning, which was good, looking at the different areas which affect careers and progression organizations and how you can make them more inclusive. I like the negotiation course, that was really good. I thought that would give me some extra impetus to add stuff to stuff I do at work, because I work in business development, so that was relevant. What was one of the other courses I did? I spent a lot of time practicing my speech, to be honest. I didn't go to all the webinars, a lot of the contests, but I really enjoyed the international speech contest and the table topics contest as well, because it was really good seeing people perform at a high level.
Yeah, and I think, is this the furthest you've gotten in the speech contest so far?
Yeah, definitely. So I've been to division a couple of times, but this is the first time I got to district.
Well, congratulations being able to take that additional step. What maybe you could share something that you've learned about from this weekend and about speaking, about giving speeches?
About giving speeches that I learned about this weekend. Well, one thing I've learned is that pinning the Zoom, the timekeeper in the district level doesn't work. So that lost the pin, I think, because it's a separate room while it's spotlighted. So if we ever have to do a contest again on Zoom, it's something worth bearing in mind, because it doesn't make a difference. So that slightly affected my speech, because I was using the background screen instead of the normal screen, because I had to transition to the woodlice toast slide, and I needed that screen open for that. So I lost the timekeeper entirely to the whole thing. But that's a lesson for the future.
Yeah, that was a lovely slide.
Yeah, it's true. It's what we made. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever eaten. They taste like prawns, woodlice, in case you're wondering.
I wasn't. Who knows where we'll be in the future, whether we'll be dealing with these tech issues again or not next time. Thanks, David.
Thanks, David.
Rachel was our next speaker.
Hello.
Hello, Rachel. So you shared that one of your hobbies and interests is coaching, and I was going to ask you what kind of coaching, but you talked about life coaching, I think, in your speech. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, so life coaching, but focused more so around like relationships, which is kind of a hot topic given my speech in the pandemic. So Gaussia, I had you in the back of my mind when I saw your speech. Love to talk to you about relationships and coaching.
And you've shared that one of the things that inspires you is connecting with other people. Have you connected with lots of people this weekend?
Yeah, so actually I haven't, the way I connected with people this weekend was as a group of friends I've not seen for a year. And so we went to the pub yesterday. So I actually missed the conference because I was just so excited to be outside, seeing people. And I've really enjoyed like a lot of people that I've connected with over this virtual time, and got quite close to, actually, despite the fact it's not in person. But then when I saw these like real life people, I was like, oh, this is so exciting. So it was like a next level of joy that I haven't experienced for a while.
So it was cocktails o'clock for you last night?
It was indeed, but not too many, because sometimes it gives me a croaky throat and I wanted to have my vocal, my vocal range sufficient today.
And share with us, what's the furthest you've been in contests so far?
Not past club. So I didn't actually know, like, I don't think I really knew how it worked when I entered. So it just kept being like another round and another round. So I was just super, super grateful to make it anywhere, really.
And you've made it to the district final.
Yeah.
Kudos.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Our last speaker today was Caroline. Hello, Caroline.
Hi, David.
And I think you've made it quite far compared to previous rounds as well, right? Was area the furthest you'd made it before?
Yes, area is the furthest I've made it before, so this is very exciting.
Another first, and well done to you. Now, you shared also that one of your greatest accomplishments was walking 50 miles in 23 hours. You didn't want to drive or take a taxi? No?
Sadly, that wasn't allowed in the rules. There's a walking competition. I live near Oxford, and there's a walking competition just a little bit further north, based around Banbury town, where it's organised by the local scouts, and you have teams of, I think, 4 to 6. You get 24 hours to complete a 50-mile course, navigating as well, and walking through the night. So that was certainly one of the most challenging things I've ever done, and the biggest blisters I have ever known in my life.
I'm intrigued how you found that compared to today's contest.
Well, it's a very different energy, because for the contest now, you're saving all that energy and all that excitement for 7 minutes, and being able to channel that in a very different way to something where you're keeping the momentum going over a longer period. Good challenges.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you've been competing from club level, your first speech was when, about February time?
Yes, I think so. Quite a long time ago. Yes.
So been a few months of competition there. And I see some of your other interests. Well, it sounds like you're quite the action woman with knitting and Pokemon Go. Oh, and scuba diving.
Bit of scuba diving, yes. Not so much recently, but yes, that's one of my favourite things to do when conditions allow, and I'm looking forward to getting back underwater again someday soon.
Excellent. Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you.
Thank you, speakers, and congratulations again. Well, I think it's time to go to our MC. Gagan, are you there?
Thank you very much, Gagan. It's a pleasure to be with you one more time for these contest seasons this year. We do indeed have some results in now. Our Masters of Mirth have delighted us throughout the course of this afternoon, and we now have our distinct third, second, and first place. So first of all, an announcement. We have had no disqualifications on time. Once again, thank you very much. You guys can come and run a meeting for me any day of the week, and I'm sure it'll be an awful lot more entertaining than the ones I have to sit through. So, to the results. In third place, we have Caroline McIntosh. Congratulations, Caroline. And now to the second place, our second place in the District 91 Humorous Speech Contest. It goes to Chris Binns. Well done, Chris. Good work, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And now finally, our first place, District 91, Humorous Speech Champion 2021. I've run out of extra words that I can stick on the end to really draw it out. That goes to Priya Gary. Well done, Priya.
Thank you very much.
Good work, good work. I'm now going to hand you back over to David for some reaction and for a question or two.
Priya, congratulations. How are you feeling?
Amazing, great. Thank you. I just want to take a moment to thank three distinct people. First, my parents. They set everything for me and they pestered me every day so that I could practice. The second, my sister, she sits halfway across the world and she ensures that I am invested. And third, my coach and my mentor, Dan McGill of Pearly Speakers. Thank you so much, Dan. I mean, you made it through me, and thank you so much. And thank you so much, Pearly Speakers, Area H15. You guys have been fabulous. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, judges. Thank you, fellow contestants. Thank you, Contest Tech. Thank you, Chief Judge. Thank you, everybody.
So Priya, you shared that you didn't make it past club round before, and look what you've done today. Well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations, and congratulations to all our District 91 humorous speaking contestants. Before handing back to our MC, I'd also like to thank our functionaries today who've made this contest run. And finally, a thank you to our contest team who've worked so hard behind the scenes to make this weekend possible. Arno, my fellow Toasties, it's been a delight. Cheers. Mr. MC, over to you.